Goku vs Saitama, Naruto vs Jotaro, Alucard vs Ainz-Ooal Gown, and Koro Sensei vs Bon. But in the end, there can only be one. Oh dear, I'm definitely gonna trigger a lot of people with this one. Because today we are deciding the most overpowered character in anime. And of course we will be doing it in my usual tournament bracket format. Just to be a little bit more specific, the bracket is on the most overpowered characters within their respective universe. I'm Briggs from All Day Anime, and let's get right into the first round. Goku from the Dragon Ball franchise versus Saitama from One Punch Man. Starting off big with a pretty intense first round. However, when it comes to being overpowered, for me it's actually an easy decision. Goku, the main character of Dragon Ball, was deemed to be a weak, lower class Saiyan. So he was sent to Earth, a relatively weak planet, to wipe us out. But after suffering a head injury, he became the low-key hero of the planet, saving it time and time again, overcoming super strong opponents that just became more and more powerful as the series continued. Frieza could literally push his palm down into a fucking planet and destroy it. The Dragon Ball universe is likely the most overpowered universe in all of anime, with most of its characters being able to destroy planets with ease. When Goku fought against Beerus, the clashing of their punches could have destroyed the entire universe, and did destroy several other planets because of the shockwaves that were created. However, within this universe, I can't exactly say that Goku himself is crazy overpowered. He's actually died twice, so he's clearly not invincible, and specifically during his fight with Golden Frieza, Goku, who completely overpowered Frieza, was caught off guard and shot by one of Frieza's minions' shitty little lasers. So he can survive being attacked by punches capable of destroying planets. However, it's only when he has his defenses up. I don't know if their energy creates some type of barrier allowing them to survive these powerful attacks, or maybe the Dragon Ball universe just doesn't make any sense. But we do know, if Goku is caught off guard without his defenses up, he is far from immune to even novice level attacks. Now, his opponent in the first round is Saitama, who in my opinion is much more overpowered, especially within the universe of One Punch Man. If you recall Saitama's fight versus the Giant Man in episode 1, who was capable of wiping out cities just with the air pressure of swinging his arms, Saitama leaves himself open and lets himself be attacked, something we have seen him do time and time again, even during his fight with Carnage Mode Kabuto. And yet, he always comes out unharmed, often not even paying attention to the fact that he's being attacked, making for some hilarious comedy, and personally, I don't think that's something Goku could pull off, as we have seen what happens when he lets his guard down. Also, we have seen Goku die, lose fights, and even when he does win, he often comes out with many wounds. In comparison, Saitama has yet to find a single adversary that piques his interest, that he needs to even bother getting serious about. Even during his fight with Boros, he was completely superior and in my opinion, only used a somewhat serious punch out of respect for his opponent. Without a doubt in my mind, Saitama is the strongest within the world of One Punch Man and is super overpowered again within that universe. So I'm definitely going to have to give Saitama the win for this round. However, if the two characters actually had to fight, I honestly don't know who would win, because we have never actually seen Saitama get serious. The purpose of this bracket is to decide who is the most overpowered, not technically who is the strongest. However, feel free to fight about it in the comments below, because I would love to see different perspectives, and I just enjoy watching the world burn. Although I would still put my money on Saitama, since the entire point of his character is that he can defeat any opponent in one punch, and suffers from a level of depression and boredom from being unable to find a worthy opponent to give him the thrill that he truly desires. So on that note, Saitama advances to the next round, and the next matchup, still in the first round, is Naruto versus Jotaro from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Now, I know Naruto gets ridiculously powerful by the end of the series, but I don't know if I would be able to do him justice, especially after watching Nux's hilarious Naruto videos. Truly a power scaling master. So on that note, I'll let my boy Nux Taku hype Naruto up and explain just how overpowered he really is.
Thanks, Lord Brigo. Very cool. As we approach the end of Naruto, we managed to get a greater glimpse at how ridiculously overpowered our boy has actually become. In fact, if you compare him to Sasuke, he's far surpassed his rival when we reach the end. Granted, the final battle ended in a draw, but it was Naruto playing defense and Sasuke playing offense, aside from the fact that Sasuke was also drawing chakra from the other tailed beasts for his final Indra's arrow. Throughout the series, we just saw Naruto as this kid with a massive chakra blob in his tummy, but in actuality, all along he was the reincarnation of the Sage of Six Paths son. According to fate, which is a prevalent theme in the Naruto series, he would make something of himself. In the end of the day, aside from the fact that, granted, the majority of his battles were won due to Nine-Tailed Fox chakra, so you don't want to consider him himself a powerful ninja, he mastered the Rasengan at age 12. This is a jutsu that the 4th Hokage created, and that literally only 3 other characters in the entirety of the verse knew how to use. Add that to his ridiculously massive reserve of chakra, and a mastery over this Nine-Tailed Fox chakra, with chakra mode and whatnot, and a ridiculously difficult technique to master that less than a handful of ninjas actually did master. Naruto is a legit beast, and he doesn't get enough credit for how overpowered and how masterful of a ninja he actually became. I'm just gonna throw this in as a little bonus, but in the latest chapter of the Boruto manga, which surprisingly is not that bad, unlike the Boruto anime, he got into a fight with Delta. Delta had a scientific ninja tool in her eye that allowed her to absorb chakra. Any ninjutsu used against her would be absorbed. So Naruto figured, hey, if it's being absorbed, then it must be going somewhere. Any storage container is finite. It's not like it can hold infinite chakra. So he makes this massive Rasengan, and he just throws so much chakra at her. This ninjutsu absorbo thingo overloaded, and Delta was destroyed without causing almost any damage to the surrounding area. Through his journey from a little whiny underdog kid that couldn't master anything and sucked at performing the clone jutsu, he became a fated, veritable, absolute badass, overpowered ninja. Back to you, Lord Brigo. Thanks for having me on. I love these bracket things.
Thank you, Nux. Very cool. His link is down below. Be sure to check him out. And maybe one day he will make an honest description on the Hokage. I'm still waiting. But anyway, without a doubt in my mind, Naruto is overpowered as fuck within the Naruto universe, but so is Jotaro. Jotaro has one of the strongest stands within JoJo's called Star Platinum, which possesses superhuman senses, strength, stamina, accuracy, and speed. For example, it could catch a bullet and bend steel with ease. But most of all, it could actually stop time for up to 5 seconds, and potentially even more if you trained it. So just to trigger a bunch of Naruto fans, this doesn't actually affect the matchup, but if Naruto and Jotaro had to fight, honestly, I think Jotaro would win. Stands are the personification of one's life energy. Think of it as a soul. Naruto can't hit a soul, but the soul could hit Naruto, nor would he even be able to see his stand in the first place. So he can't touch or see something with superhuman speed and strength that can stop fucking time. Sorry Naruto, but I think even you would take a huge L. Even if Naruto is faster and stronger, which he definitely is, he would still be helpless, and I doubt he would be able to attack Jotaro's main body since he could stop time. However, this is all irrelevant, it's just me wanting to have a little bit of fun. But honestly, within the world of JoJo's, a stand's ability isn't super important. What is much more important is the strategies and tactics employed in battle and how you decide to use your stand. JoJo's has one of the best battle systems in all of anime, and even a weak stand can defeat a strong one, especially if the opponent doesn't know the stand user's abilities. And based on that, I think Naruto is actually more overpowered within his respective universe, as even though tactics are still important, I can't say that they are as important compared to the JoJo universe, especially later on in the series where certain ninjas' powers were on a whole nother level. Like Tenten will never be able to beat Naruto regardless of her tactics, the same way a Super Saiyan would never be able to beat a Super Saiyan 2. A series like Naruto is highly dependent on powerful jutsus and large amounts of chakra, which Naruto has in excess. Like, remember the time that Naruto gave the Nine Tails cloak to an entire army? Sorry Jotaro, you're an amazing character, and JoJo's is awesome, but you're just not as OP as Naruto. And in the next matchup, we have Alucard from Hellsing versus Ainz Ooal Gown from Overlord. Another super tough round. We have Ainz Ooal Gown, who at the moment is literally the strongest 2 characters within his series. He is so strong and such an evil genius that he created the identity Momon, literally making himself the strongest hero and the strongest villain within his world. Facing off against Alucard, a pretty much immortal vampire who can perfectly regenerate. Most vampires can't handle sunlight, which is usually their one and only weakness, but this seems to have no effect on Alucard. We have seen Alucard decapitated and even torn to shreds by holy holy weaponry, which was specifically designed to kill him, and he just easily regenerates every time. If anything, he just ends up making a cheeky comment about holy weapons stinging a bit more or something. Like, how can you kill someone who has shown zero ability to die throughout the entire series? At least Ainz has the potential to die, even though we haven't seen a single adversary even close to his level of power. Like, he's the strongest within his world, and his NPCs are the only ones right behind him. Like, the strongest opponent he has ever fought was his own NPC, Shaltir. We have seen him use magic so far superior to anyone else within the world, and at the same time, he can just play around with swords as a mage and still be stronger than everyone else, which really does make this matchup so hard for me to decide. The only way I could see Ainz losing or having a serious fight is if there's actually another player from the game within the world, which they have hinted at several times. I think I might have to give the win to Alucard, because even if he does lose a fight, he still doesn't die because he's pretty much immortal. While if Ainz HP hits 0, he dies, and Ainz has at least expressed that he's worried about artifacts, other potential players, and overall within his world there are threats to come. And even without that, he was almost outmatched by his own NPC, while Alucard is just chilling in a league of his own. And I'll be sure to elaborate a little bit more in the next round, but his power was actually being restricted throughout the entire anime, and he was still that overpowered. So Alucard advances to the next round. And the next matchup is Koro Sensei from Assassination Classroom versus Ban from the 7 Deadly Sins. Koro Sensei actually means unkillable teacher. He can travel up to Mach 20, has lightning fast reflexes, can regenerate lost limbs with just a minor loss of stamina. He can detect even the most minuscule of changes in temperature, light, sound, and smell. And he even has a trump card where he shrinks his body into a sphere, and the remaining energy from the transformation hardens as a crystallized second layer over his spherical body, making him completely impervious to harm for 2 hours. But his opponent is Ban the Immortal, who is, immortal. But Koro Sensei is that strong within a world where most people are relatively normal and human, making him much stronger than any other being on Earth. While the 7 Deadly Sins has extremely powerful demons and goddesses, the overall scale of the world is completely different. Ban is still technically immortal to really any physical attack and pretty much every magical attack, except demons do have the ability to remove souls within the 7 Deadly Sins, which would kill him. And there are definitely numerous individuals within the 7 Deadly Sins that Ban would not be able to defeat. So even though being immortal and having insane levels of regeneration is so overpowered, I'm going to have to give Koro Sensei the win, because within that universe, he is so much more overpowered in comparison. Moving on to the next round of the tournament, we have Saitama versus Naruto and Alucard versus Koro Sensei. However, before we begin, I just have a quick message for everyone watching, and we could run this in 2 times speed for the fun of it.
Everyone, be sure to check out my other bracket videos, like the one I made on badass characters, badass old dudes, isekai anime, the best shonen protagonist, and more. Playlist is down below. Also, if you feel like supporting me and the channel and helping me maintain this level of quality by allowing me to continue hiring editors, huge thanks to Tora for editing this video for me. Consider supporting me via Patreon. Sorry about the delay, let's jump back into the next round.
Saitama versus Naruto. And as Nux described earlier, Naruto was born with a large amount of chakra on top of mastering the Nine Tails chakra, giving him enormous amounts of power and the ability to use powerful jutsus and endless amounts of shadow clones. However, the OP man is just too OP.
You don't say.
After Saitama takes his hero fitness exam and gets accepted into the Hero Association, one of the association's high-level officials makes the statement that Saitama's strength gives the perception of there being a god in his body, due to how overwhelmingly overqualified he was for the fitness exam. He is so powerful that he can't be power scaled, because his power is so overwhelming that he has never faced someone or something that can possibly allude to his limits, if he even has any. I don't usually go full power scaler on you guys, but I find this so interesting. There's a moment where Saitama jumps to the moon and back, something that Goku and maybe even Naruto could pull off, but what makes it even better is he didn't know how far his abilities went. He didn't know if he could make the landing, he didn't know how much strength to use, and he didn't know if he even had to hold his breath. But he did all of it regardless with no effort. I truly believe we haven't even seen the surface of what he can do and if he even has limits. I genuinely believe Saitama is one of the most overpowered characters in all of anime, potentially only having one person who's even close to his level of OP. But you will just have to wait and see how the bracket plays out, of course. So on that note, Saitama goes to the finals, and in the next matchup for the second round we have Alucard versus Koro Sensei. Alucard being similar to Bon immortality wise, but within a world where he is also the strongest, making him a much better matchup for Koro Sensei, them both being the strongest, most OP things within their respective worlds. However, I pretty much said everything I needed to say about Koro Sensei, while I never elaborated on the fact that the immortal vampire who is impervious to sunlight had his powers restricted for the majority of the series. He has this thing called Release State Zero, where he literally summons countless souls that he's absorbed over the hundreds of years he's been alive, a literal army of the undead, and any fodder nearby gets sucked in and killed by the otherworldly substance these guys come out of. There is literally a moment in the series where Alucard transcends time and space. He can just disintegrate and reappear behind you. He can pass through walls as he can turn his body into a non-tangible state. As the series continued, he just became more and more overpowered. This guy's abilities are actually absurd and are on a whole different level than someone like Koro Sensei, who we could all agree is also overpowered. Alucard moves to the finals against Saitama. These are two ridiculously overpowered characters, and it's actually a really hard decision for me. Do I choose the immortal vampire that can transcend reality and summon a literal army of undead, or a bald dude who one-shots everyone, who can't possibly be power scaled because he does everything and defeats everyone effortlessly, which is the purpose of his character? Like, his role is to be so vastly ahead of everyone in strength, while with Alucard there are individuals who have put up a fight and done extreme amounts of pointless damage to him. And the reason I say pointless is that even though Alucard himself says that there is no such thing as true immortality, he as a character actually makes this hard to believe. I do think I'm going to have to give the win to Saitama, since the point of his character is to defeat everyone with ease, which is the most overpowered character concept ever, but it's also done for comedic effect, which I'm sure a lot of you would even question as to why I would include him, as I can see how it's unfair. But that's exactly why I had to include him. His character is so overpowered, it's literally unfair. In which case, I'm going to have to give the W to Saitama, because he truly is the most overpowered character, but I will give the runner-up medal to Alucard for being the most overpowered non-comedic character within fiction. But of course, we know that Lord Twigo is actually the most overpowered character in all of anime. However, I didn't include him because it would just be too unfair to the competition. Remember when I said it was almost as though Saitama's body was possessed by a god? Clearly, that god is Lord Twigo. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know who you think should have won down below. Again, this entire video is very subjective to my opinion, and I'm positive there's a bunch of people who disagree. But if you enjoyed the video, regardless of whether you agree or disagree, smash that subscribe button for more content. Consider checking out my other brackets in the playlist down below. Like the video if you haven't already. A huge thank you and shout out goes to Nux Taku for joining me and helping me out. Sorry about that dragged out outro, but if you do enjoy my content and want this level of quality consistently, consider supporting me on Patreon. I'm Briggs and thank you for watching. Shinpaku, El Sai Kongru, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!